Hello, welcome to Interdependent Study 2021. I am your host and accountability buddy and comedian, I guess, because I make myself laugh, Kimberly Logan. I would like to welcome you to the first live stream of 2021. Just take a deep breath for a second and think about what that means to you. For a lot of people, January is a month of renewal, of starting new ideas, of clean sweeps. For some people, it's just another page on a calendar. They just have to replace the calendar from last year, which I still haven't done. But that's okay. I'll get to it. Plenty of time. For me this year, it's kind of another day and kind of a new start. A little bit of both. I am full of contradictions. But what we are going to do, that is the same as 2020, is take a moment at the top of our Sunday stream to connect with our breath, to connect with ourself, and to say thank you for showing up. If you would care to say hello in the chat from wherever you may be listening, I would love to know where you're at and maybe if you made a resolution this year. Don't have to tell me what it is, just whether or not you believe in that, because I'm curious. So, to start our connection, you're going to put one hand on our belly. It may be a little bit bigger thanks to the holiday food, thanks to the winter hibernation that many of us do, and that's fine. One hand on our heart space. If you are comfortable, close your eyes, and just to begin with, observe your breath. The natural breath. Where is it in your body? Of course, with the reading, we're picking up on where we left off last week about how do you breathe. We'll go a little bit deeper into those questions. So this is a good moment to observe. And obviously, once something is observed, it is inherently changed. But we're going to try our best not to actively manipulate the breath for just a couple more moments. As we begin to deepen the breath, see if you can feel the air enter your nostrils and travel all the way down that center column of your body. Your belly expands, allowing the diaphragm to create space for that air. And on the exhale, your belly closes in towards your spine, allowing all that air to move up that center column of your body. And while you feel it exit the nostrils, see if you can imagine it exiting the crown of your head. Continue breathing in and out through your nose, envisioning that column of air. And it may be helpful to assign a color to the air. Right now I'm imagining this soft, light yellow, maybe that pale winter sunshine that's not bright, but it's not gray. Because there's a color associated with it, it's a little bit easier to visualize the movement of that air. So pick whatever color makes sense to you. If you don't need a color, don't force it. But if you have a color, imagine it entering with the air at your nostrils, flowing all the way down to your groin. A slight pause, and then exhale, and imagine that color getting a bit brighter on the exhale as you send that energy out into the world. For me, that pale light yellow comes in, goes down deep, and transforms into a bright, bright sun yellow. And then lights up my whole body, that whole center column, as it moves up and out the crown of my head. We'll take just a few more moments here. See if you can feel that connection, that the energy of your breath makes with the energy around you. Remembering that all life is energy. On your next exhale, release the practice. Release your hands. Maybe take a stretch. Settle in to your seat just a little more comfortably. Give yourself a big hug. Thank yourself for showing up here, for being here now, for allowing the next 15 to 20 minutes to be all about you. to be focused, to be energized, to be replenished. And I will see you right back here for the reading. Okay. I feel better. I also just took a sip of tea, which was lovely. Last week, we started Chapter 7, Breath. We asked some questions about how do you breathe, and we took a slightly bigger deep dive into the first question. Where do you feel the physical movement in your body as you breathe? Today we are continuing with a further deep dive into the rest of those questions. If you have a copy of the book, we are on page 66, and we are continuing with, do you regularly hold your breath? It is natural to hold your breath for a moment if and when you are shocked or require a sudden shift in your attention. But this hold should not continue Are there people who affect your breath? Do they stop you breathing or enhance your breath? Generally, second circle breathers will make any of us feel safer than first or third circle breathers. Sometimes their breath presence can change our patterns, bringing an unnatural breath into a natural place. A first circle breather will feel very intimidated by a third circle one and can shrink further into first in their presence. Two first circle breathers together might feel safer, but the space between them fills with a de-energized vacuum. A third circle breather might not even notice a first circle one, or at worst, might feel a temptation to bully them. Two third circle breathers risk a face-off and a clash of presences. When you have learned to breathe naturally in second circle, you begin to energize the first circle breathers around you and disarm the third circle ones. Are there situations when you know your breath will fail you? When you're in touch with your second circle breath, you will be able to troubleshoot any sense of impending breath failure, which can include panics or locks. If you know your breath can stop or diminish, this is a sign of first circle breathing. Over-controlling the breath when panicked is third circle breathing. Try to remember a situation that frightened or disturbed you, and try to re-experience what your breath did. First circle breathers dread any public event when they have to be on show, so that parties can actually produce panic. A panic breath, third circle breathers can feel uneasy in intimate exchanges, particularly hearing ideas or experiencing emotions that they have no sympathy with or control over. Are there environments that block your breath? It is possible that even the thought of certain spaces can throw your breath into panic and holds. For instance, the memory of certain meals, classrooms, people, elevators, traffic jams, trains, etc. send shockwaves through your body. If you do remember these shocks, it can help you to understand your breath and the constant fears that impair your breathing. Most people on this planet are now urban dwellers, which doesn't help us find our natural breath. Our breath works better in nature. It is where we started, and probably where we belong, at least evolutionarily. Have you noticed how your breathing can miraculously regulate itself when you are looking at the sea, the mountains, woods, a sunrise or sunset, or up at the stars? As you breathe with nature in second circle, you connect with nature and can even start to feel at home and at ease. This connection applies to hostile terrains and actually most vividly in powerful weather. A strong wind will knock you off your feet unless you breathe naturally with it. If you have ever experienced being on a boat in a storm or swimming in rough seas, you know what I mean. Your breath had to stay in connection to your environment or you would drown. The more we all lose a connection to nature, and the more we are crammed into small spaces with low ceilings and dwindling daylight, the more most of us shrink into a first circle breath, or try to push away and break out of the restricting surroundings with a third circle breath. If you examine these basic questions again, you will really know whether your breath is in first circle with your life force being sucked out of you on a disturbingly regular basis, or whether you have all the controls of the third circle breath that, at worst, can take oxygen from those around you. Please don't blame yourself. All our habits that destroy either us or others have been learned to survive the humiliations of life. However, these are the consequences of first and third circle habits, and this is how these habits are perceived by the people around you. When I first read this chapter, the phrase, learned to survive the humiliations of life, set off bells and whistles for me. And not because of humiliation in the sense of embarrassment, but kind of in that way. Because evolutionarily speaking, human beings are tribal. We are group dwellers. If you were alone in the world, you are more likely to die. So being humiliated or ostracized or segregated against was a death sentence. Obviously, in the modern urban world in which we now live, that's not necessarily the case. But our creepy, crazy little lizard brain doesn't realize that our safety, our survival, our existence doesn't depend on community anymore. Happiness might. A feeling of purpose and meaning definitely does. But our lizard brain is much more interested in survival. And it sees separate, alone, humiliated as death. And so humiliation, surviving the humiliations of life, really is about staying small, staying safe, and staying protected. Because putting yourself out there in the world is scary. Your lizard brain thinks that it is the first step toward doom. So what we need to do is rewire our bodies and minds to know, to feel, to believe, and to embrace the idea that we are safe, that dyeing your hair a funky color is not going to cause the mountain lions to see you before they see everyone else in your tribe and kill you first. It really is just a creative expression of how you want to present yourself. I'm going to say there are no mountain lions waiting to attack you, and hope that you understand, if you are living in California or elsewhere that a mountain lion could attack you, that I'm speaking metaphorically. Thank you so much for joining me today, for dealing with the technical difficulties. I'm definitely going to try to overdub, redub, re-record, fix that part, and re-upload to my YouTube and my website. Who knows how long that'll take, but I'm going to try. So, until next time, I would like to say thank you. And if you would like to join me for a meditation moment tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. Central, we will continue our reading of Just Sit, meditation guidebook for those who know they should but don't. Happy New Year, and until next time, let's be independent together.